Hey folks, if you've seen any of the great merch we have lately, we've got Witchpolice shirts, we've got bags, we've got more gear on the way. That's all made by our friends at Divine Shirt Company. Whether it's screen printing or embroidery, heat press vinyl or graphic design, Divine Shirts is the place to go for your band merch. They've been doing some of the best stuff from the best bands in Winnipeg and beyond. And if you're looking to get some merch made, head over to divineshirtcompany.ca or follow them on Instagram and tell them Witchpolice Radio sent you. Hip-hop artists from Winnipeg, Saskatoon and beyond have banded together to form Saskatoon Folk Rap Records. The label features new and upcoming releases by the likes of the Gumshoe Strut, Epic, and Introducing the Ghost, the fantastic new record from Rob Crooks. You can find Introducing the Ghost as of October 6th on robcrooks.bandcamp.com.
Get up off your ass and get up on the podcast! Witchpolice Radio! Witchpolice Radio! Witchpolice Radio! Witchpolice Radio! Get up off your ass and get up on the podcast, Witchpolice Radio!
All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. Living on the internet again, as always, because we live in a future dystopia where no one gets to leave their houses. But I have a guest on the show on this episode who has been on the podcast a few times in the past, but it's been a while. It's been a few years, and I'm glad to have you back on and talk about what you've been up to over the last little bit. So I think the best way to sort of start this off is if you want to introduce yourself, and then just we can go from there.
Yeah, okay. Hi. Thanks for having me back. My name is Pip Skid, or Pat Skeen. Patrick Skeen. I don't know what it like. Just here.
Yeah. Just living. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think that, like I said, it's been a while since you were on the show, and I've been listening to your music for a long time, going back to, back to Farm Fresh, I guess, really. And so you've been pretty active sort of over the past few decades consistently. The last thing that I know of that you did is the project you did with Rob Crooks that came out, I guess it was earlier this year. And is that the most recent thing that you have done, or do you have more stuff that's in the works at the moment?
That's the most recent release, and as well as I'm knee deep in a new record with McEnroe, which is moving along pretty quickly.
Cool.
And I also have another album with Rob Crooks, a new one.
Okay.
That's pretty. I mean, in a similar sort of vein as It's Okay.
Okay.
As well as Rob and I have a record called Eat Crow. That's where we've him and I made probably 30, 35, 40 songs in the last 6-year period. There was a 6-year period where that ended a few years ago where we made quite a bit of music that just never came out.
Okay. And
so we've gone through and handpicked the ones that are strong and I had always intended to put out this record called Eat Crow right after him and I did the Synonym Tallest Poppy residency.
Right, yeah.
So there's a few songs off of that project that'll be on it. Since that project was, when we went back to listen to it to see if we should put it out, it was because it was a residency album where it was made so quickly, mm-hmm. with a very specific concept in mind. It just didn't age like we'd like it to. And so anyway, I've recorded the majority of the vocals for that. So Rob's been chipping away at that. And I also have a record I made with Crab Skull about 3 or 4 years ago that I didn't put out. I got pretty burnt out when I was working at the Studio 393, the music and art drop-in, and just helping so many people make music and a league of other things that come with that sort of community-based work. And I just ran out of steam, and until point is I'm sitting on whole bunch of stuff that I'm finally getting back to.
Is that all going to be coming out in the relatively near future? Like, are you sort of getting all that geared up to release?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking with Crab Skull in the spring with the idea of, if Manitoba was able to keep Corona away, we would have re-recorded that already.
Okay.
So, I mean, all that stuff is in the works, and I imagine, talking with Roddy, he's keen to get this record out early 2021. So cool. It's not, all this stuff isn't that far off.
So with all those different people you're working with, right? I mean, how, I'm trying to think of the best way to ask this. How does your sound change in terms of working, if you're working with Rob, or you're working with McEnroe, or you're working with Crab Skull? I mean, they all have very different kind of approaches to making music. And, I mean, you're the constant with all those three people there. So is there a different way you approach the project when you're working with one or the other? Or are you just you, regardless of who's on the project with you?
Yeah, I mean, the one constant would be I ask for just hundreds of beats to choose from, and whatever jumps out at me. I think more recently, like my approach to writing has changed, where I felt I was getting stuck by trying to just sit and write raps. Okay. And so my approach in the last year or so has been, I, instead of just sitting and trying to punish a verse out of the paper, I write as I go. Okay. So I record. If I write 2 lines, I'll record it, and then I listen back to it, and then just whatever comes to my head, and then I sort of clean it up. I clean it up on the back end. Okay. And so it's a more freestyle approach, and I think that it just I'm not sitting and overthinking things as much. And then the product that's coming from that, I think is quite a bit. It's more interesting, and it just I think it catches the sort of essence. Like, the record I made with Rob this year with the all about the Corona. It was to capture a moment in time. Yeah, yeah. And it was just so. It was so easy to write with that method, but also with just, I would wake up and watch and read an hour or 2 hours of news, and then write 2 songs that night. Okay. Because, it was just, I guess it was also, there was something going on that was, life had slowed down, and there was just so much going on around us that it became quite easy to write again.
Is that method, are you more productive through that method than you would have been kind of, I guess, the old way you were writing?
Yeah, it would, like, sometimes, if I'm writing a rap verse is much different than just sort of floating on top of a melody. Okay. And so, writing a 16-bar verse could take weeks, to where it starts to get frustrating and you just leave it behind and don't revisit it again for another year or whatever happens sometimes with those things, right? So yeah, for me, I enjoy the writing. I enjoy the fluid movement of it, and I think if I'm gonna make, I went so many years without putting anything out because I think writing and everything became so frustrating that this is, it's a lot more enjoyable for me, which I think, at this point in a music career, if you can call it that, it needs to be fun for me again, or there's just no point. Yeah, okay? Yeah. How was that Corona record received? I liked it as a listener, but did you get a lot of feedback on it? It was kind of at the beginning of all this happening, and now things have gotten so much more serious and heavy and worse in terms of the impact this has had on everyone, right? Yeah. I don't know. That's a tough one because we didn't do anything to promote it. Yeah, yeah. And so, which is always my, is it Achilles heel? Is that the right term?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate that shit. And like, and Rob did a little bit what he could. And I mean, I haven't even put it on SoCan yet. I mean, I just like, that's why McEnroe was always, I mean, without McEnroe, no one would have ever heard my music, you know?
Right,
I mean, so without some sort of machine or one man band behind me, I just like, I make a record and then I'm done with it.
Okay.
Are you going bonkers?
I can't take it any longer. We need to fix the coronavirus. This coronavirus is going bonkers. There's no toilet roll or anything in the shop.
You don't get to see your friends, and you're not making no ends. You don't get to hug your mom, and you start feeling numb. Day feels so long. This goes on, and when it's done, it feels wrong. Now it feels strong. Feel like I'm losing my mind. Like I'm losing my mind. You don't get to go to your employment. Fuck that shit. Nah, I never brought enjoyment. You don't get to fuss with your paycheck. Cash in all the benefits you never get. And this day feels so long. It's like I inhaled the moth and now I gotta losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. Losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. Feels like I'm losing my mind. Out of here. Out of here. Out of here. Been on Instagram for 14 hours. Seen the same memes, feel like a coward. Still alive, but I'm pushing up flowers. These bed sheets, bread gone sour. How you doing in your weird little home? It's if you even have a home to be with alone. If you have a home, and you probably soon won't, when the bank smoke us out into the streets like a rope. How we doing here, coach? Think we'll make the finals? Could this cabin fever turn into righteous violence? Science be our reference over the Bible. Our future's in the hands of the privileged and titled, the rich, the royals, the Epsteins, the Nygons. And wipe out these old white fat fascist diehards. Load up your iPods with It Takes a Nation and prepare to die from this phlegm inhalation. Losing my mind, I'm losing my mind. Losing my mind, I'm losing my mind. Losing my mind.
I do have a video. There's Randy Frykis who does the, Randy.
I know him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great filmmaker.
He shot my Skid Row video years ago, and anyhow, him and I did a socially distanced shoot for Good Times off of that record.
Okay.
But we never, we never got a chance to finish the all the B-roll for it because of Corona, and so we're sort of sitting on that, waiting until we can figure out a way to get some more shots.
Cool.
But aside from that, so I just don't know. And like Tom put it on Marathon of Dope, on their streaming services, and so I just don't see the numbers.
Right.
I just like
Right.
I know he sent us a little chunk of money when it first dropped.
That's all right then.
And Crooks text. I sent Crooks some money because we just split it.
Yeah.
And he was like, "That's the most money I ever made from a record," which was like $110.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess numbers aside, though, right? I mean, did people want to hear about the pandemic during a pandemic? That's what I was always wondering about that record. Is you're talking about something that's so happening now, and like I don't know. I just wondered if you got any feedback about that, about whether they want to hear about what they're going through as they're going through it, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the time. I think because it was so new and it was unfolding in front of us. My feeling was, well, let's get this record out quick and capture this moment in time. And I think maybe now that would be. I think maybe now people are looking for more escapism.
Yeah.
No,
that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, there was that. I don't know. There was some stupid Netflix show or something that was just a bunch of people on Zoom.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It just I saw the half of the preview and it just gave me so much anxiety. I'm like, so I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, a lot of my news stuff is. I mean, definitely a lot of Corona in there, and I write from a place of like anger and humor and frustration, and so a lot of the stuff that I've written since is, primarily anti-cop stuff, but there's lots of Corona shit in there too. So it's like just trying to detail the times, I guess.
Yeah, that's all very, very timely subject matter for sure. You said earlier that you once you're done with the project, you kind of just it's done, right? Do you when you put out music, or not even put it out, when you record music and write music, is it more of just you need to get it out of yourself than you want to put it out to other people to hear, or is it a bit of both? I mean, would you be happy releasing records only for yourself and just to do it for the act of expression?
Well, yeah, no. I mean, how much work am I going to put in just to write? I mean, like with this the new record with McEnroe, where I really surprised myself. Where you sit down and I often don't have a concept in mind. It's I sort of let the music talk to me, and through consuming a bunch of media, something's gonna come out. But I where you surprise yourself and you're like, oh, that where the fuck did that come from? And that's cool. Like, and then when that happens, then you're like, well, it'd be cool for other people to hear this.
Sure.
There was a couple instances with demos that I sent to Roddy that, where him as well was like, when I made that beat, I did not hear that happening on top of that.
Yeah.
But in a positive way. So, originally Roddy was looking to make a Fermented style record because of the climate. He thought it would be a great time to. And then the stuff I started sending back, he's, it's like, oh, this is not a Fermented record. We're just in such different places.
Well, that Fermented record, though, it's still kind of, it still holds up now, which is kind of unfortunate. Not music. Unfortunate that the times are so shitty that a lot of what you're saying in there is still very relevant. Like, I could put that on now and it wouldn't really sound like it's, almost 20 years old. Yeah, for sure.
I haven't listened to it recently, but yeah, I know what you're saying. It is unfortunate that all those things are still happening in the way they are, right? But yeah, and I also don't want to write like 90 bar rap songs
right.
that have 9 million syllables a line in them or whatever. So,
yeah.
But yeah, and Rod's beats, Rod's style has changed recently as well, which is, I think, complementary to what I'm trying to do. So I'm excited about that record, obviously. But I'm also, I guess, to address what you were asking, I'm excited about that record as well because even though Peanuts and Corn is still just Roddy.
Yeah.
There is a little bit more of a machine in place. even though it's not like we used to, where we were paying to have records sent out. And I mean, but with PNC, there is a little bit of a machine that will push the record, you know.
Well, people know the name at least, right? It still has that cachet with rap fans, yeah.
I'm stupid late for this date with some date from the bank. The only thing I've ever tucked into my pants was a shank tank top. Almost new, fresh tattoo, still sore. Killed a dragon, steal a tube of toothpaste from the store. The guy's a bull. All numbers, interest, and math, but my interest isn't there. The chicken fucker made me laugh. Some 10.9 financing shit inside here. I marked the next time to celebrate and crack the beer. He got starchy and stiff, chewed my hair like Mike Tyson. Saint the way to behave in the premises on a license. Bunch of other shit and tie, coffee breath stank. Things are about to change for the dink from the bank. You a dink song, cold and late from economics. I'm bouncing off the walls of my room, rockonomics. Biting holes in my fingers so deep that they won't bend. You shake my hand and call me buddy, but we're not friends. You a dink song, cold and late from economics. I'm bouncing off the walls of my room, rockonomics. Biting holes in my fingers so deep that they won't bend. You shake my hand and call me buddy, but we're not friends. I'ma go back down to the bank and pay this stink a visit. Get the pinto spilled on this rack. Come on now, who is it? Take a sweat from above his ears where his shade's too high. Reached out and put one hand around his novelty tie. Off the supplies in my pocket like Dr. Kadambi. Let my guard down. Security guy closing at me when I came back. He's hiding. Secretary says he's gone. So I left behind a calligraphy set. Pen bomb in the next session he has. Sleezing over a mortgage. We'll blow up like Bono. Signing autographs in Portage. I ain't some old high school buddy pulling a prank. Things are about to change for the dink from the bank. You a dink song. Impale from economics. I'm worn out. Smelling like roach and gin and tonics. Don't have time for a 3-day clearance on my hands. You shake my hand and call me buddy, but we're not friends. You a dink song. Impale from economics. I'm worn out. Smelling like roach and gin and tonics. Don't have time for a 3-day clearance on my hands. You shake my hand and call me buddy, but we're not friends. You'll be locked in a tiny apartment with one room. 10 people chain smoking VCR, countdown cocoon. And as soon as it's done, we'll wind it to the start. Press play again, make a brain bend, jerk your heart. Give yourself some credit. Come on, quit crying so hard. You're an individual, not just anyone could have starred in my personal straight to video idiosyncrasies. It was your self-confidence that put you here. Being a dick to me, think of me and you now as one of the same. I took a daytimer and camped at the squash game, crossed out your name and filled mine up in the blank. I'm so sick of having to deal with the dink from the bank. You a dink song, cold and late from economics. I'm bouncing off the walls of my room, rocking the onyx, biting holes in my fingers so deep that they won't bend. You shake my hand and call me buddy, but we're not friends. You a dink song, impale from economics. I'm worn out, smelling like roach and gin and tonics. Don't have time for a 3-day clearance on my hands. You shake my hand and call me buddy, but we're not friends. We're not friends.
Given the current economic environment and
in fact, this economic rebound everybody's talking about is actually going to happen.
financing they need. Now they need $1 million for the short term as
Yeah, certainly the second, third, fourth quarters of last year were challenging. There's been a capital leasing arrangement which allowed our customers to actually pay over time. We still got paid up front.
with the timely infusion of capital. There's no question we continue our rate of personal growth for large corporations. We're now profitable. We're growing at 40% compounded monthly. Given the current economic environment,
I mean, to me too, like in terms of sales and numbers and all that shit, like I don't give a fuck about that stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, to me, some of the Emerson from Shades,
Yeah.
He's messaged me a couple different times and was like, I listen to It's Okay constantly. He's like, I love this record so much.
Yeah.
To me, that's like cool. Like I did a way better job than I thought I did.
Yeah. No, I like that.
And like-
The quality of listener over quantity of listener, right? You want someone who actually really gets what you're doing.
Yeah, and like to me that's like cool. Fucking rights. I could move on. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh.
So on top of the music thing, you've also been doing a lot of art over the past number of years. I saw that you have a calendar and a bunch of other stuff going on. So what's the kind of... Oh, there you go. Right on. What is
I just got...
what's the origin of that? Like, how long have you been actually doing this for? Because I feel like it's been quite a while, right?
Yeah, again, it's like one of those things where you drift away and come back to it here and there. Like, I mean, the first Farm Fresh tape was a drawing of mine, that shitty alien drawing. Yeah, and I mean, I've done, I've done Greg McPherson cover and some Rob Crooks covers.
Yeah.
And it's weird that I never end up doing my own. Maybe it's like kind of like it's like I know it's common to produce your own beats, but I always thought if I was producing beats, I would want nothing to do with them because I would get so tired of them by the time. But yeah, drawing was sort of my first outlet as a kid. Like, I was really into Spider-Man, and so I would just redraw Spider-Man comics.
Okay.
And then I actually have a few comics kicking around that I made in the mid '80s. Like one summer, I just spent the entire summer making like a wrestling comic.
Okay.
With characters I'd created, and then I have another one about a superhero who gets locked up in a mental asylum. And
you still have these?
Yeah, and it's been something I've always been at. Tom DeHeater with Speed Dial 7.
Yeah.
At his parents' house in Belgium, there's an entire wall of comics he made as a kid.
Oh, cool.
Like all these weird Dutch comics, like thousands of them.
Wow.
Which is like, I mean, it's it makes a lot of sense when you know him as an adult, where he just can't sit still. He's always having to build or create something. Yeah, I mean, art has always been a big part of my life, and then when I started working for Graffiti Gallery as like a music instructor around 2005, as a way to get more shifts, I started teaching art as well.
Okay.
Which brought me back into like really, really spending a lot of time with it, and so, I mean, it's to sit down and write a song is a sort of torture. Like I mean, it sucks. I actually kind of hate writing music.
Okay.
It's I find it. I mean, with this new method, it's much easier, but it still sucks.
Has it always been that way for you?
Maybe when I was a teenager, not so much, because I just didn't know any better.
Okay.
I was just a like an idiot floating around.
Yeah.
But I mean, from Fermented on, it's just like, I mean, Sun Kill Moon has a song, like track number 8, I think it's called, which is just this entire song about how writing music is the worst thing you could ever do to yourself. Very relatable. But so with drawing or creating art, not always, but there's just there can be for me, it's a bit more relaxing of a way to spend time in terms of creativity. Not always, like making this calendar, the start where you're just sketching ideas can be fun, and then as you're trying to tune everything in, it becomes a nightmare.
Right.
Like getting any sort of project done.
Yeah, when you start, it sounds great, and then by the time you have a deadline or whatever, it's it's the worst. Yeah. Are there certain things, like certain ideas that you have that just automatically this is going to be something you want to put onto paper versus putting into a song? Like, is it very equally divided or evenly divided that way, where this is song content, this is art content, or does it just sort of come out how it comes out?
Mostly sort of just comes out. Like a calendar is obviously a really tangible sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, but then, then I struggle. Do I have a concept for it? Is it adult content? Is it going to, you know what I mean? And so then you have to sort of pin all those things down. But I remember Crooks talking to me after I had a piece up at a graffiti gallery exhibit, which was based on those like chainmail.
Okay.
And my mom used to get those letters, and it's like if you don't if you don't send this letter to 10 people, your house is going to burn down.
Yep.
Your toaster's going to start on fire when you're sleeping. Your children will die.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah,
right. And so I mean, and those still exist, but in email form.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I did this project. with these chain letters, and then people could address them to somebody, and they put them in this bin, and then I mailed them out.
Oh, cool.
But Crooks get which I thought was a nice compliment, was like, because I hadn't really at that time I hadn't been making music, and he's like, I was kind of sad that you hadn't been making music, but now when I see you doing projects like this, he's like, that's just your music in a completely different form. He's like, it's like bizarre and conceptual, and it gets to the point, which I thought was a really nice compliment. And so it's like, there's like, which also, Rob sent one to his girlfriend at the time, and but the idea is that you don't know who sent it, right? There's no return address, and she got so fucking pissed and was like, what sort of scumbag sends this?
Wow.
To where she got so mad that Rob finally had to tell her that it was this thing.
That's awesome.
But there were a few, he would send me screenshots from Facebook and stuff of people who had received them.
Yeah.
Like, what fucking asshole sent me this letter? Go fuck yourself.
That's great.
So I mean, again, I couldn't hope for a better result.
Yeah.
Than having people mad on Facebook about it.
That's an accomplishment for sure.
This is the winning and a pagan and a public and a service announcement, asking you to please and then thanking you to not be so fucking stupid. Stupid, 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 stupid people do stupid things. Stupid, 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 stupid people do stupid things. Stupid. Why are you so stupid? What the fuck's your problem? You believe in talking snakes, gods, and goblins. I believe in Sasquatch, I believe in Yeti. My mascot, a Bigfoot to stump you steady. He referred to beverages a bevy. Pizza, a za, and a vegetable, a veggie. Never received one, but dispatched a lot of wedgie. You were like a Travis, a Betty, Chet, or Reggie. Reggie music, white dreadlock, it need to come through. What did your mom do? I believe you're homeschooled, which not only means you're stupid but insane, and you find those Red Bull commercials entertaining. I'll give you wings, chuck you in front of a moving train. Your head, only part of injuries you not sustain. Fine line between stupid and tough. At the bar, panting Coors Light and whooping it up. Her ass is like an apricot. 10,000 visitor, you want a free laptop. It's free, it's free. Just click on it and you'll see hot singles in my area will have sex with me. Gotta break it to you, you have no chance. Like the Mickey sisters of them dipshits, I'm romance, no sense. Half-wit, trying to come lately. Want me to get off the beat and come and make me. Stupid, 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 stupid people do stupid things. Stupid, 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 stupid people do stupid things. Stupid.
Yeah. Tryouts for the dumbest motherfucker on earth. The bomb bursts and you're under a table. You're a new artist and you signed to a label. People that died for their cables who died to get on cable. It's a fable and the true believers. You accept your suspension. You're the type to put your kid on intervention. Housewives that watch their stories in minor glory. You're an idiot like musicians who vote for Tories. Tour whores who have tour stories, don't bore me. You're like a Chad, a Brad, or a Corey. That blank look past my jaw piece into inner space. Face the fact you can't get respect with eyebrow wax. You put out your record with a menagerie of typicals, but honestly it's pivotal for you to think critical. Take 7 MCs, put them in a line and play Simon Says until all but one are out of line. The young lady wants to see the idols, I'd rather stay idle on the hook. Maybe you should just read a book, if you can.
Do you feel like it's the same kind of like the art, like we said, Rob had mentioned about how he wasn't sad that you weren't making music anymore because he saw that kind of creativeness in this other project. Do you feel that your songs and your art are similar in the way that in I guess what they're depicting and how they're depicting it?
Yeah, I think a lot of it. Some of my art is, I think, a little softer, maybe. It's that said, like, I know, I don't know if I've totally thought about this idea yet, but when I was working for Graffiti Gallery and Studio 393, because in my position I was, I was a face for that organization, and doing media and I because of that, and because you're working for this youth organization, it definitely like made me feel like I wasn't always able to make my own art.
Okay.
In the way that I would like to. Excuse me, like these anti-cop songs. Not that I wasn't feeling that, but where your professional life
for sure
is interfering, and I mean, even it's been extremely hard for me to find work, and one guess that I have is because it doesn't take too many Googles to see me screaming into a camera on a music video,
yeah.
Right? Who knows? But anyhow, so I think once I left that job, and I sort of healed a bit from the burnout, I found like it was easier to make art and music again as well.
Okay.
Because I didn't have that sort of pressure or shadow on me of representing an organization that I care about.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I can just be a fucking batshit asshole maniac again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, then those any repercussions are my own to deal with, right? And yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? Now I just got a job with Stats Canada doing COVID tracing.
Oh yeah.
So now I'm a federal employee.
Yeah, for sure. They must have missed the music videos, I guess, when they hired you.
Yeah, right.
So, with the calendar, did you just come up with that idea on your own? Just do you have all this art? You wanted to put it together in some kind of a project, or how did that sort of get developed?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, I've made like calendars as gifts for people.
Yeah,
and it's like, I mean, yeah, and so I was thinking, well, why don't I do a calendar to sell? Because times are tight, things are tight right now, and like, I haven't had a job since February or something, and it's like, and yeah, I mean, it went pretty well. It went like I sold twice as many as I thought I would.
Nice,
which is cool, and I mean, it's it's just kind of a no-brainer. It's like, what people want to support local artists, and it's like, what do people want to buy right now?
Yeah,
a stupid calendar. Like the part of that asshole part of me where, like where I want, like one idea I had was where I like put wrong numbers in, and
that's a great idea.
and shit like that, where, you know, I guess you're like culture jamming this fucking stupid calendar or whatever you want to call it. The time is an illusion anyway, right? But just like, and then I'm like, no, because someone's gonna like lose their job.
Yeah,
someone's gonna glance at that and be like, oh no, that meeting's tomorrow, not to, you know what I mean? And then like, I mean, like for a long time, I had this idea that my next album was, which I'm still working with, but so I'm gonna release an album that no one has access to.
Okay.
And the release will be like a press release with a PO box address, and you have to write me a letter telling me why you want a copy.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get a giant stamp made that says denied.
That's awesome.
And just pound these, you know, and just see how people respond, and you know, maybe 5 people will end up getting the record.
Well, I think that's
and like what criteria I have for like who gets it, and I think that's I don't know. I think that's like my wife told me that's the worst thing that you could, like, that's just such an asshole thing to do.
It is, but it's really funny. And I like how you actually wanted to make the record in the first place, because you could just say you had a record and just deny everyone. But the fact that you're actually going to make this and maybe give it to someone, I think it makes it a lot better. Appreciate that.
It's like a total turn on the Wu-Tang making one album or whatever, right?
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. You should definitely do that. One of the things that I've appreciated about, you know, this year's been shit for everybody, and as you mentioned, you have trouble finding work. People are dying. You know, it's brutal. But one of the things that's kind of come out of this year that I've liked is seeing a lot of people making music who, like, whether it's punk bands, whether it's rappers, I'm seeing a lot of people in Winnipeg and elsewhere who had presumably stopped or slowed down and are suddenly just coming back with a ton of stuff. And it's a lot of people who are, you know, maybe you think they're too old for their genre, whether it's a punk band and it's a guy in his 40s or 50s or older. And I mean, even rap labels like Saskatoon Folk Rap Records with Rob and with Epic and all those guys, they're all releasing new music again. And it's really cool that it seems to have kind of sparked creativity, not so much in the younger audience younger group of musicians that you think would already have that, but in like sort of an older generation that had slowed down or even stopped completely. And it seems like for whatever reason, this pandemic has inspired that. I don't know if you've experienced that either, but it seems like people 35 to 55 are making more music or more better music than people who are in their 20s right now. And it's a weird phenomenon.
Yeah. I mean, Honeycutt putting out his birthday list of all his favorite songs of 2020. Like, absolutely. Like, I think with like older rappers for sure. Like when I go into the like iTunes music library, and it's like 9 out of 10 times you just punch an old rapper's name in, like where I'm like, oh, I'm going to listen to that record from the 90s they made, and they have a new one from this year I didn't even know about.
Yeah, for sure. And
I listen, and you know, 7 out of 10 times it's not bad.
Yeah.
Or really fucking good.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, if nothing else, I think like. This year has been the best year for music and as long as I can remember.
Yeah, which is bizarre because there's no shows and there's no but
I think maybe there's some sort of maybe that was what was needed, because I mean something that I when I was working with kids and selling, like helping share and try to guide people, it's like, you know, sit and work on your shit before you're putting it out or playing live shows. Like really practice all that stuff first. And so I mean, there's a bit of an element of that, I think, too, with like seasoned people putting out better music, and you know, and also I think there's a little bit of a desperation too, right, where it's like, holy shit, how do I sustain this and you know. People, I mean, as useless and stupid as people are, humans are adaptable.
Yeah.
To a fault, but yeah, I mean, and I mean, yeah, I'm very happy with them. Like music this year, there's so much good music.
It's great, yeah. It's surprisingly great because last year was fine too. But I always make my list of like my favorite local albums every year, and I have to get on that soon because it's already December. But last year I had some really good choices. This year I have too many to decide from. Like I don't even know what my order is going to be, and that's just locally. And it's just it's surprisingly people have been really productive. And I guess it's because they have time in a lot of cases, especially people who work on their own typically, right? I mean, solo artists, they have nothing to do but write music, record music, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, shit. Like I've written 3 records this year now.
Yeah.
And I haven't written 3 records in a year since. Probably 2005 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, time is for sure a big one, and especially as you get older, it becomes, and when you're not a professional musician and money isn't on the line, it becomes difficult to find the time to make these things happen. And sure. I mean, even with McEnroe doing the podcast series,
that was a great series.
There was some. I mean, I don't the one. Yeah, there were some really great ones. And then, I mean, shit. Like, I was listening to the last one with him and Honeycutt last night, and then like hearing like Tim Vesley come up and do a verse on Duck Duck Goose off a live DAT.
Right.
With us in like 95 or whenever that was. I was just like, I don't remember that happen. And it was just like, yes, it's been, there's been some good ones. But that, and then, I mean, Roddy was shooting to make like 4 new records this year. And like, I mean, that wouldn't happen if, Rod works like 12-hour days.
For sure. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird benefit of being in a situation no one wanted to be in the first place.
Right. And I thrive in solitude and loneliness. It's where I like to be.
Yeah.
And like going to like holiday family gatherings is like is a nightmare to me.
Yeah.
And like, so like not having to deal with any sort of like bullshit Thanksgiving stuff and bullshit Christmas gatherings.
Yep.
I'm like, that's fucking perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the only thing is keeping up with my friends, because then I just isolate, and I'm like, I got called Honeycutt for his birthday, and I was like, oh shit, I probably haven't talked to this guy since July.
Right.
And like, but I mean, like, yeah, I love not having these social obligations. And I mean, I obviously love not having to go to work, which is, and so, I mean, I get so much more done. I've also been hungover since January.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No, but I totally understand the social obligations thing, because, like, I used to go out and do the show. I'd go to people's houses. Like, for years, I was driving around the city, going to someone's house or jam space or the back of their van or whatever to record these. And now I can just do them from home. It takes way less time. I can record more often. I'm putting out 2 episodes a week now. Like, it just... and I don't have to leave my house. I was really nervous about this Zoom thing at first, because I thought it's going to take something away from a conversation that you would have had in person, but it seems to work out just fine. And I can sit in my basement and not leave. And I work from home right now because of the pandemic, so I'm sitting right here, just writing all day, and then, doing this, and it works out. Yeah, it's I don't like the family gatherings either. I kind of dread them, and this is a little bit nicer.
Yeah, so much nicer.
Yeah.
I need one of these cool backdrops that you have.
Yeah. Well, once I figured out how to do it, it was the best. Because you can't see how messy the basement looks or whatever. So yeah, it's
right.
Yeah. So with the calendars, are you still selling those, or are they all gone at this point?
Although, oh shit,
that was weird.
get a sneak preview of a McEnroe track.
Right on.
I the order has been placed, but I ordered a few extra for some stragglers.
Okay.
But yeah, and I'm sitting on a few different T-shirt designs that I'm going to be selling over the next while. Not Pip Skid ones, but just drawings of mine.
Cool.
Just trying to just like music, it's so hard to monetize that sort of stuff for me, and I just did McEnroe's album cover. Last night I was working on some Tallest Poppy, takeout bag designs.
Cool.
Stuff like that. And then ideally I'll do a calendar next year that the Tallest Poppy will sell.
Okay.
Which calendars it takes so much work. I was going to do a thing with the calendar where it's like I was going to have like five people could buy one of a kind, like hand drawn.
Okay.
And then put a big price tag on it, and then it's just like, my God, if I'd done that, I would just be, we wouldn't be talking right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Is there, I know with your music too, like there's a lot of it. You've released a lot of stuff over the years, and I'm assuming at this point to find it, it's all sort of everywhere, right? Some of it's Peanuts and Corn, some of it's Marathon and Dope. It's all just sort of floating around out there, or is there a main hub people can find your stuff at?
Definitely not. I know that Tom's like a bit behind on, because he anyway, a bunch of a lot of the early Marathon of Dope stuff I don't think is on a streaming service right now, because when Tom's band was having he was just paying too much money to host all those records.
Okay.
And so he took that site down, or he took the music streaming off of it, and so I know. Anyway, yeah. Primarily, they should be in Marathon of Dope or PNC, but that's some of them are lost in orbit right now.
Yeah. But people can find them, I guess, right? You've been around long enough that I'm sure they're on YouTube or whatever if someone wants to track them down that way.
Yeah.
Which doesn't give you anything, I guess. But
when Roddy was looking for some of the Marathon of Dope stuff, to play on his podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was like, do you have any idea where I can find the Pip Donahue record or whatever it was?
Yeah.
And then when I did a search, I found a link to it through Uggs Mag.
Okay.
And when I clicked the link, it sent me to Peanuts and Corn. So I'm like, you're actually hosting it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't get money for. I get the odd $3 SoCan check, but I sure should don't get Spotify checks, or I've never seen I got a really small check from Sound Exchange once.
Okay.
And I don't see. I know properly to deal with all that, you need to register with 10 different places, and they go look for your. Because realistically, there's invisible money sitting there for you. But anytime I've gone and chased that, it's just such a small amount.
Yeah.
For the amount of work, but yeah, the SoCan stuff is I think the most important to keep up on. And shit. How many times do I get played on? It's shit. Sorry.
No,
man.
you're good. You're still music started playing, but you're still here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just when I look at music, it's never never involves money. Roddy sent me in the spring. Roddy sent me a little chunk of probably iTunes.
Okay.
iTunes and Spotify royalties that have built up over the while. So every once in a while, Roddy sends out some money. also, like, when I was going through emails to look for an invoice the other day, the part owner of a wax museum, I guess, like, when they closed, they owed us some money, and he, like,
that's a while ago.
Sent yeah, and he, like last year, he just sent Roddy this big chunk of money and was like, "Sorry, man, here's some money I think I owe you," and then Roddy just, like, split it up and sent it out to us.
Wow.
Which was so cool, because it's like, and I'm like, oh man, how many of those places that went, those online stores and stuff that, or like brick and mortar stores, like No Records, I think, like, went out of business owing us like $12,000 or something. Wow. And, like, but, like, they, anyway, shout out to Rob from Wax Museum. He's the only person who ever, like, circled back around on that.
Yeah. So if someone wants to hear you now, like, I mean, I'm assuming most people listening to this already know who you are. They already know your music. They're already familiar with at least something you've done. But if they're not, if someone just subscribes to the show and listens to every episode, and this is their first encounter with your stuff, where would you send them? Like, what would you direct them to as far as, like, is there a definitive Pip Skid album, or one that you are the proudest of, or one that you think kind of best defines what it is that you do?
I don't know. I think they're all crap, really. Like, it's just different
types of crap.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess, like, Tens of Dollars is my flagship sort of song. I mean, you can watch the Tens of Dollars video, and then that can lead you other places. Okay. I mean, I'm kind of always like, oh, my newest record is my best one. And then, I don't know, I think I went back and listened to It's Okay, I don't know, a month ago or something, and I was like, oh my God, this sucks. It's like, I mean, it's relative, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, like, I mean, doing the podcast with Rod, the Pip Skid ones, the hardest part about them was, like, having to listen to my old music. I'm just like, oh my God, shut this guy up. Yeah. And, I mean, there's, like, for the most part, the content and everything, like, I stand by all, like the majority of that stuff, but, like, it's just, it's just, it just makes me cringe. But, yeah, I mean, that's a good. See how good I am at selling myself?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You should go into marketing, I think. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the new one. I mean, the new one is a good sort of. The new one's the new. Yeah, listen to the new one. Why not?
Okay, right on. Okay.
Pip Skid, Rob Crooks. It's okay. You can find it on iTunes and Spotify and. I don't know what the hell else.
Whoever else,
do.
Yeah.
When I ride past the fuzz, I'm like, fuck you, cop. And I'll make sure my middle finger's seen up on top. Swap recipes with some kid from the sticks, and I'll keep planting bombs till they start cutting their wrists and putting desert eagles to the back of their own throats. This goes a lot further than rigging a few votes. History will not forgive the war in Iraq. In the U.S. military, they could eat the ass crack. So if you want to wave an American flag, be prepared to catch a swift kick in the bag. Dragging these racists through the middle of town. The ones that don't immediately die will drown. Get down to the sound, the anti-fascist, anti-imperialist. We gon' smash this. Crack Nygaard in the teeth with a stolen mic and escape through the back lane on my bike like fuck these fascists and their racist war. America is nothing but a giant canker sore. I think it's time that we gargle with salt to snuff the bald eagle and its twisted cold.
Instead of having mounted police, I'm going to have them stuffed.
Crack the vault. I wanna see what you have hidden. Secrets from the people, top level, forbidden. I've heard the fibs and I've seen plenty layoffs. Get me vexed with watching commercials during the playoffs. Always the same shit without any relevance. Most of these folks, you insult their intelligence. Hardworking people who be covered in sweat, paying for them trips in your private jet. So for every dollar you wanna swipe off my check, I'ma match that with small stab wounds in your neck. Like, I'd be surprised if you bleed. Don't even supply your own people with basic needs. But overseas, killing people is now a sport. Been learning Arabic and practice at the airport. Bomb strapped to my chest with 3 days of stubble. Just waiting for some fucking cop to come and give me trouble. Fuck these fascists and their racist war. Been over 500 years since they hit the shore. And now it's time that we dealt with this disease, to leave nothing breathing but the animals and trees. Fuck these fascists and their racist war. I refuse to put up with this shit anymore. They wanna see a WMD. How about 10 million people that'll kill to be free?
For most people, the American nation is in trouble, as indeed it is now. Maybe because there are new forces in the world, conflict between the generations, a powerful feeling that the American system is failing to deal with the real threats to life, the bomb, the pollution of air and water, the mounting